That's the revision done. Time to get back to this. Hi, my name's Billy. I read books and I'm back. I've had my revision time to do the exam I've been studying for work, and now it's time to get back to talking to you lovely people about the books I've read, want to read, and just general book related talk. Now, just because I've been away from recording these videos doesn't mean I haven't been reading books. So I was going to talk to you a bit about the books I've been reading and just a little bit of other stuff that I've been doing while I've been away. So to start with, books that I've read. I read Conan the Invincible by Robert Jordan. I don't know what possessed me to give this a go. Well, I do. It was because it's Robert Jordan who wrote The Wheel of Time, which is one of my all-time favourite fantasy book series. And I couldn't resist reading another new to me book by Robert Jordan. Now, it's safe to say it's nothing like The Wheel of Time. It's nowhere near as good. In fact, I gave it 3 stars, but that's only because it's just short and breezy and you don't have to think too hard about it, which was kind of what I was wanting at the time. Now, this book hasn't aged well. It doesn't fit in with modern sensibilities. Prime example I can give you is that, as far as I'm aware, I think thinking about it, the women I know in real life don't spend 90% of their time naked. Well, they do in this book. And as long as you can deal with that, as long as it doesn't bother you too much and you can just accept it for what it is, it's a book of its time. Don't take it too seriously. It's not saying anything about people in real life now. Just accept that it's a book written by Robert Jordan quite a while ago. That's nothing like The Wheel of Time. And then just put it down and you've read a short fantasy series, or book should I say. So that was a 3-star book. I finished off Different Seasons by Stephen King. This is his short story collection. 4 books and 4 short stories in this book. And they were The Shawshank Redemption. So seen the film, really liked the film, read this short story and really liked it. Really liked this short story. Even though I knew the story, I really enjoyed reading about it. It was really well written. The second book is Apt Pupil, which is a bit like a schoolboy finds an old Nazi, basically, living in a small town, and they kind of befriend each other, but their friendship and relationship, as it's a Stephen King book, takes a sinister tone, and it concludes in a very, very bizarre way, like a way that you would not expect it to end when the story starts. But it was good. I enjoyed it. It was a bit twisted and disturbing, but it's Stephen King, so it's going to be. You've then got The Body, which is what the film Stand By Me was. That film from, was it the 80s? Did it have River Phoenix in it? And even though I really like that film, I didn't like the story, which is weird because with The Shawshank Redemption, I know the story, I knew what was going to happen and I really liked it. But with this one, I knew what was going to happen, but was bored reading it. I don't really know why. So that one was just okay for me. And then the final one, I'd totally forgotten about. I couldn't think what it was called. I had to look it up. It's The Breathing Method. And that, to me, was totally forgettable. I can't even really tell you much about it. Some secret club. That's all I can remember from it. That's utterly forgettable. So all in all, 3 stars for that book. I then started reading my very first books by John Scalzi. And I started with The Collapsing Empire. This is book 3, which I'm yet to get to because I've read the first 2, which were The Collapsing Empire and The Interdependency. I struggle with that word. And I gave both books 4 stars. And I'm hoping to give this a 4-star at least when I read it in the not too distant future. Now, as you can see, this isn't a very big book. It's only, I think that's about 300 pages. The text isn't particularly small or big. The other 2 books are pretty much the same size as well. But he packs quite a lot in there, just John Scalzi. And this series is about, it's set in this world where there's these like holes in time or space where there's these tunnels where you can go from, let's use our solar system for example. Let's say Earth has got all these like tunnels through space, and you can go to all the different planets dead quickly. And because Earth has got, say, 10 different tunnels, Earth will be the centre of the interdependency. Whereas, I don't know, Neptune might only have one. So that will be out at the arse end because no one wants to go there because there's just one way in and one way out. And that's basically the premise for that world. But what would happen if those tunnels started to collapse or started to disappear? Hence the name, the collapsing, the Interdependency series and the Collapsing Empire being the first book. It's very political. There's lots of political shenanigans, family relationships and family dynamics. There's a bit of swearing in there. There's quite a bit of sexy time in there as well. And there's a good dollop of humour in there. And a lot of the characters, the humour's the same really for all the characters, but I didn't find it boring. It's not there all the time. And yeah, it's all right. It's nothing that I'd say, I don't think anyone would say like it's a comedy or it's a series that would have you laughing out loud. There's just a few things that happen. The names of the ships, the spaceships, are quite interesting and funny the way some of them are called. But it's really good. I'm really glad I picked that series up, and I'll definitely be reading more of his books. I then read Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. This is Children of Ruin, the second book in that series by Mr. Tchaikovsky. Currently reading this. I'm nearly done with it at the time of recording this video. But I read Children of Time with Robin from the channel Bookspin as a buddy read. Robin, I'm sorry it took me so long to get around to doing this. I will be putting my spoiler-free video out soon for that. But I really like that book. I gave it 4 stars, maybe a 4.5 out of 5. I very rarely give 5 stars. I know I'm pretty sure Robin gave his 5 stars. I think he liked it more than me. Yeah, that's a really good book. It's about humanity trying to colonize and like bioengineer another planet, and the idea is they're going to drop some monkeys onto this planet after they've terraformed it. That's the word I'm thinking of. So monkeys onto this world with this special virus that is going to speed up their evolution. So you're not going to have to wait however long for them to turn into humans, potentially. They're going to give them this virus and it's going to speed it all up. But things go belly up, things don't go according to plan, and something else gets the virus. You may very well know what that is because this is a book that has been doing the rounds. It's been out for quite a while. It's just as per normal. I'm the last to read these things. And it goes from there. And it was really good. I enjoyed it. This second book at the minute, Children of Ruin, it's not as good. It's probably going to be a 3.5 out of 5 unless something amazing happens towards the back end of it. I'll be doing a spoiler-free review for it in due course. But I'll definitely pick up the third book and finish the series. I then I finished off the Articles of Faith. I think that's the series called, by David Ragg. I read The Righteous. This is a duology. The first one is the Blackhawks. I mean, the covers are lovely. I gave this a 3 out of 5. It starts off pretty much the same as the Blackhawks did, where the Blackhawks are all together and they're effing and jeffing and fighting and killing and slagging each other off and being rowdy and obnoxious, and it's great. This book and this series is at its best when the Blackhawks are together. Sadly, about in the second half of the book, they kind of get separated or split up and they do whatever, and it just turns into generic fantasy story with generic fantasy battles and a generic fantasy ending. In fact, I can't even really remember what the ending was, which is never a good sign. But I'm glad I've read it. The first half of the book I had a really good time with, so 3 out of 5, 3 stars out of 5 for that. I've started, I did a video before, maybe one of the last videos I did before I went on my hiatus, my booktube hiatus, about authors or series that I wanted to read. Popular ones that I always put off. I always go for the the book, the authors or the series I think might surprise me that not many others really read. But one of the ones I've heard quite a lot about was The Long Price Quartet by Daniel Abraham. Daniel Abraham being one half of James S.A. Corey, who wrote The Expanse. This is him going solo. It's a decent sized book, and this is a bind up. So that's book 1 and book 2. Read that. I've just started, as you can see, that, which is book 3 and book 4 of The Long Price Quartet. And this is a slow burn fantasy story, and I'm liking it. You've got to be in the mood for it. It's very political. There's lots and lots of world building. It's character, loads of world building, lots of character development, lots of character interactions, and it's really good. It's really good as long as you're in the mood for it. I'm struggling kind of getting into it at the minute. I'm kind of wondering, am I in the right mood for picking up and starting book 3 on it? But so far so good. I've also carried on reading The Wandering Inn, book 2. I feel like I've been reading this book for about 75 years. If you look back on my channel, I was doing some spoiler talk discussions about it, and I had to stop doing them because it was just taking me so long to read and to make the notes, and I ended up getting burned out with it and putting it down for ages, and I'll come back to it. And the good thing with The Wandering Inn is you can just pick it up again after a while and just almost carry on from where you left off. So I think I'm about 65% of the way through this book, which in any other book, I'd have probably read 3 full-size novels, and I'm only 65% of the way through this one. It's crazy how big this book is, but it's good, and I'm having a good time with it. So those are the books. What else have I been doing? Well, if you've been following this channel for a while, you'll have seen some old videos where I was doing like weekly updates from my car in a car park before I went and did a park run. Because I do quite a bit of running. So I've been carrying on with my running. I've been doing that, and I've done a couple of half marathons. So I did one in January, and the problem for me is I struggle with half marathon distances. I'm okay with 5Ks and 10Ks. I have done a lot of them. I've done literally hundreds of 5Ks. Probably done, I don't know, maybe 50 or so 10Ks. Half marathons, no, I struggle with them. But I did one at the start of this year in January, did all right. Did one in early March and didn't finish it because I had a combination of everything going wrong that could possibly go wrong. So for example, 2 kilometers into it, a half marathon's 21 kilometers. Bear in mind there was ice on the car park because it was cold. I was sweating up. I had sweat pouring out of me and I wasn't going quick. I was like, what on earth is going wrong? And then my heart rate's up and my breathing's all laboured. This isn't good. Maybe it was that spicy stir fry my wife bought me the night before for my tea, which I knew I shouldn't have had. I was like, oh, well, don't worry, just keep going. And then I started feeling sick and I'm like, yep, it's definitely going to be that stir fry. I was also running a little bit late getting there, so the food I'd had before I may not have had time to settle. I was like, it's all right, just keep going. And then my hamstring started to twinge and start tightening up. I was like, this is not good. And thankfully, this course was laps. And I got to the point where I had one more lap to go. So maybe about, I'd done about 15 or 16 kilometers and I was like walking most of this by this point. And I just pulled out. So that was a bit of a disappointment, but it's the right decision because that means I've not pulled my hamstring and I can carry on running and look to improve for the next one, which I think I'll probably do in about May, something like that. Although I've got an eye on one maybe in April, but I don't know. I'll see about that one. So we've also had Christmas while I've been away, obviously, and it was a bit of a sad Christmas really because it was the first one without our dog Holly, who we lost in, crikey, when was it? Was it September or October? It feels, in a way it feels only like yesterday, in other ways it feels like such a long time. So it's a bit of a subdued affair really because we've still got our other dog, Summer, who, well, she just loves opening presents really. So it's a bit of a subdued thing, but the best Christmas present, and here's a top tip for all you boyfriends and husbands out there. Yeah, sometimes you can spend a lot of money on a gift, but sometimes a gift with thought behind it can go a long way. Because I bought this, which is a robbing bird feeder. because my wife loves robins. She thinks, well, when she sees a robin on the bird table, she always thinks it's a granddad come back to visit her. So a big robin bird feeder like that, she was made up with best Christmas present I could have ever bought her. She was absolutely made up. Wasn't particularly expensive, but it's thought behind it. That's thought. Ladies sometimes like thought as well as money and expensive gifts. So that went well, and then you see, it's a bad time of year really, because we have our wedding anniversary back end of December, just after Christmas. There's Valentine's in early February, and then my wife's birthday at the end of February as well. So it's like ideas to buy things for people. To buy things for her is flipping hard. But one of the things I did get her, which she absolutely loved, and the dog didn't, was something she always went on about was, oh, I'd love it if I could just put my dog in some pyjamas. Well, guess what? They do dog pyjamas. So here you go, here's our Labrador dressed up in pyjamas. And I'm not sure if the dog loves it too much, but she certainly did. And that's pretty much it really. I'm glad to be back. I hope you're glad to see me back. I'm going to try and get more videos out than I did last time. I've obviously got quite a few reviews I can get out, and I've got some other ideas of other things I can do in the meantime as well. So thanks for watching. Take care. I'll see you again in the next video. Like and subscribe. Cheers. Bye.